News right now at 5 o'clock. 2 people have been rushed to the hospital after a shooting overnight in northwest Atlanta. Police have blocked off part of Camrose Way.
Atlanta News First Rachel Aragon is live with the First Alert breaking news tracker this morning. And Rachel, police have been on the scene for hours.
Yeah, several Atlanta police cruisers out here still this morning, hours after 2 people were shot. We're getting a better look at the scene right now. You can still see plenty of officers still here. Earlier, though, we saw several officers swarm one of the homes here on this roadway. But I also want to give you a better idea of what they saw early this morning when officers first arrived. Police do tell us, though, that they believe this was a targeted shooting. Again, 2 people were shot, taken to Grady Hospital. Police also tell us they believe their injuries are not life-threatening. Now, from the video you're seeing right now, we also can tell we see a car with bullet holes to the driver's side window. Several officers, again, trying to walk up and down one of the homes here. Right now, Atlanta News First is trying to learn more about this shooting and what occurred leading up to it, as well as if there's any suspects they're currently looking for. We're going to stay on the scene, of course, throughout the morning to bring you the very latest on this overnight shooting. Reporting live in northwest Atlanta this morning, Rachel Aragon, Atlanta News First.